Maybe a Cebuano will talk to an Ilocano. They cannot understand one another. So they were confused. That's why it's called the confusion chapters. Because chapter 10 and chapter 11, chapter 10 talks about the sons of Noah and its generation. Chapter 11 talks about people disobeying God, congregating one another, building up their own God, and they started stargazing, worshiping the sun and the moon because they have only one language. That's very true, you know. You only congregate to a group where you understand one another. You know, before when there was no frequency of flights all over the islands of the Philippines, you know, Philippines has 7,120 islands. And people in the north doesn't really go very often to the south. And people in the central Visayas doesn't really go very often to the north side. So when you go to a congregation, when you socialize in a party, you only congregate to whom you can understand. Cebuanos will have another group here. The Ilocanos will have another group here. Why? Because you understand one another. In the Philippines, although we have a culture, but we have a subculture. Because we're divided, we have many islands. That's what happened when God said, we will give them different languages. And then they started grouping. And then they start going to other places. And now that was the start of the nations of the earth. That was what we call the chapters of confusion. Now, what is this for us today? How God confounded the language at the Tower of Babel. The word Babel means confusion. But they didn't understand that they call it Babel, but really the meaning there is confusion. They were confused. So they started scattering all over the face of the earth. And that's why we have different nations now, because they have different languages. Because God said, we will confuse them. Let's give them different languages. And now we have different languages, different nations under that language. Now what is our conclusion? You know, during our messages in Bible study, I will not end up just saying this is it. We will have to see in the conclusion, what is this for us today? In other words, there should be a life application. Even if you're reading in Genesis, you have to ask yourself. The title of the message is Genesis, the Book of Beginnings. So what will be my conclusion then? It's going to be the beginning of my journey to fulfill, to read the whole Bible for the year 2013. So today, you heard the message. It means that it's going to be the beginning of your journey. It means that it's going to be the beginning of your change from the old to the new. It means that it's going to be the beginning of your hope for the future. That is Genesis in your life. And today I pray that as I have delivered this message, a message which is basically an outline. As you will notice, the PowerPoint projection is the same as the outline. That I will be consistent. Then when you are consistent, then you will begin to understand as you read yourself. And this time, it's no longer spoon feeding, but you have to read yourself and understand. In that way, you have to reflect, you have to engage, you have to apply, and you have to disciple. At the end of the year, we should be able to finish the book of Revelation. As I've said, whoever will preach in this pulpit They can preach their own topic, but still, I will provide an outline for the people, for their care groups, and for their own private study, that they can go through the Bible. You might not read every day, but at least you know that we are in this particular book for the week. And in that way, we are more consistent. In that way, we are in one pace. The children's church, today, they're teaching on the book of Genesis. And here, we are also preaching in the book of Genesis. And in the next care group meeting, in the book of Genesis, we are in one pace. We are together in this journey. No man should be left or woman should be left behind. We should be in one pace. So I pray that this message today, although it's going to be a different message, because it's basically like more on teaching rather than preaching. This is really encouraging us to go and read through the Bible the year 2013 and be able to really go on prayer and fasting for the next 21 days with Daniel fast. Remember, I said it is not because we want to lose weight, because many people today have a New Year's resolution. They will lose at least 5 pounds what they have gained during the holiday season. But it is really because we want to be sensitive to the leading of the Spirit as we go on prayer and fasting. Today, as the first Sunday of the month,